Okay, I'm alive and well. I decided to start live streaming, and then my cat says, "This is the time I'm going to show up." Yes, hello, weirdo. You're an oddball. You know you are. All right, we are back with more stuff because, well, it's getting close to sports season, and I wanted to do some of my favorite things, which is NFL, NBA, mainly NFL because we're getting much closer to that. So yeah, well, it's gonna be good stuff. Gonna be good stuff. But we're gonna start with a video that I enjoy, and I wanted to go through it. And that was every team's Mount Rushmore according to the NFL on NFL throwbacks. I've watched this video a lot of times because I like seeing their takes on top four and what I think top four should be. But I mean, entirely depends on my era. See, I was born in the 80s, so I'm more of a 90s NFL player liker. So I preferred Barry Sanders for Detroit Lions. Then you've got Tom Brady with the Patriots, and then I became a Lamar Jackson fan after Brady retired. So yeah, that's where I go. And I'm not more of a team guy. I'm more of a follow a player I like. Whatever team they're on, I'll be part of that and root for that team. That's what I like to do. All right, let's jump into NFL throwbacks. I'm gonna lie, I don't agree with Steve Young on the Mount Rushmore for the 49ers. Probably because they haven't had anything better than that in a few years. So he's probably gonna take that fourth spot. But like Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, and Ronnie Lott, I get. Lott's defense was huge for those 3 Super Bowl runs. Jerry Rice was, well, he is the greatest wide receiver to ever play. The numbers speak for themselves, especially when he was in the 90s and in a running league. The numbers he put up and have not even been surpassed by the current best wide receivers of this era when we're in a passing league. And the biggest difference, I think, is, especially when it comes to this, personally, the biggest difference to me is the fact that the only receiver who could have even come remotely close to Jerry Rice's numbers would have been Randy Moss. Hands down, Randy Moss would have been the one. But he's second behind him because my top 5 for all-time greatest wide receivers are Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, Calvin Johnson, and then I've got Antonio Brown at number 5, and my number 4, I wonder if anyone can guess that. Very hard to do, but it is, I always forget his name because he had so much controversy around him. Oh, Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, Calvin Johnson. Who was my overall? Oh, no. Calvin Johnson was my number 4. My number 3 was, he played for the Cowboys. Give me one sec. I got to remember. Those wide receivers in NFL. Terrell Owens. There we go. Terrell Owens. It was Terrell Owens. I couldn't remember, but now I remember. So my top 5 was always Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, Calvin Johnson, and Antonio Brown. Now, some people are going to question that Antonio Brown take. There is not a receiver in the NFL's history for a 6 to 7 year stint who dominated in 2 categories every single year, as AB did. AB was unbelievable. He was the best wide receiver in the NFL for 6 straight years, especially with the Steelers. No question he was. So, for people that don't view him as a top 5, I do. His off-the-field stuff, I'm not looking at that. I'm just going by what he did on the field. His off-the-field issues, they were obvious. And he was lucky, man. Very few receivers even can get their hands on a Super Bowl ring. And he got one thanks to Brady. So, he got numerous chances, and he blew them all. He is the greatest receiver because you always want to look at more than just the accolades when you're determining this type of argument, because you have to look at what era he played in. He played in a running back era where running backs like running backs were dominant. Walter Payton, O.J. Simpson, Eric Dickerson, Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith. Like, it was a running back dominated league. It was heavily. It was all about that. So Jerry Rice put up numbers that receivers, even in today's league with the passing as high as it is, will never even catch. I don't think they can do it. And that's just like when I look at Brady's numbers with all his touchdowns, passing yards, total games won, and everything. I don't think any quarterback's ever touching those records. not in a million years. I think an analyst that I watched, Nick Wright, gave it to me the best. Brady is the only quarterback to have 3 distinct Hall of Fame careers, and you can break them down into 7-year periods. The first period was the Troy Aikman phase, where he won 3 Super Bowls. The second era was the Dan Marino era, where he was putting up all the numbers, breaking all the records, and winning his MVPs. And then the next 7 years was the Joe Montana phase. Like, it's insane when you look at what Brady's done. And him and Jerry Rice set the cornerstone for a lot of records. The only duo I know who surpassed their playoff records from a receiver and a quarterback was Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski. They hold the all-time record for most touchdowns to quarterback receiving back and forth. Yeah. And there's something I want to bring up, something that I find interesting that we get argued with a lot, because a lot of people are questioning the argument with the AFC and how loaded it is about Josh Allen. Josh Allen, to me, is going to have a Phillip Rivers style career. That's how I view it, because he is in a conference where you've got Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes. Phillip Rivers was stuck in that same conference with Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Ben Roethlisberger. And Ben Roethlisberger, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady went to a total of 16 of the available Super Bowls. 16 of the available Super Bowls. That is a career for most quarterbacks in this league. 16 years. That just speaks volumes to the competition that Phillip Rivers had to go through in that conference. And it's the same thing with Josh Allen. He's got to go through Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, Joe Burrow, and the Cincinnati Bengals, who hopefully their defense isn't garbage this year. And then he's got to go through Mahomes and Andy Reid. And my God, Mahomes and Andy Reid is the most lethal cheat code I've ever seen, because they've been to 5 Super Bowls, won 3. And it's the exact same thing with John Elway. John Elway made 5 Super Bowls, won 2. Honest, a tortured franchise would be like the Detroit Lions, who've never had the taste of any success. And now they do. For the last 4 years, they've been an elite team. Imagine when they finally got that new owner, and she stepped aside, hired nothing but football staff. She stays out of the limelight. She doesn't talk much. All she does is sign the paychecks, make sure the money's flowing. And she lets the football staff, president and CEO of football operations, operate the team, which is very smart. Most teams that are unsuccessful right now, like the worst teams in the NFL, is because they have an owner that's very talky and far too active in the limelight. Good owners stay out of the way. That's been the current thing with the league for the last 20 years, since the early 2000s, because you can't name a team that's had remote success without them having a silent owner. Now, a lot of you probably would say Jerry Jones from the 90s with the Cowboys, but he wasn't vocally active that much then. It wasn't until after he fired Jimmy Johnson, which was the biggest mistake in that franchise's history. If they kept Jimmy Johnson for all of the 90s, the Cowboys would have been the Patriots of the 90s. No question. They would have had 4. They would have had 4 Super Bowls fully under Jimmy Johnson rather than 3. So there's no question to me when it comes to talky owners don't lead to great success. They just don't. Ownership should just stay out of the way when their teams are playing and not talking about them. Just stay in the backlight. Hire a president and CEO of football operations. Hire a football staff, let them run the franchise, and success will come to it as it needs. And the Detroit Lions have done all that. I mean, getting Dan Campbell was the biggest reason for that too. I'd say the biggest reason was getting the new owner, because she stays out of the limelight and doesn't get actively involved. And the fact that she stepped aside and gave it over to football staff that know what they're doing. And it took them after she got hired, about 4 years to rise to prominence, and now they're one of the best teams in the NFL and probably the top team under the Eagles in the NFC. So that's a lot of success to come back. Tried to catch Gronk's touchdown single season record, where Gronk had 17 touchdowns in his 2011 season. And Kelsey even said, he said, I tried. Do you know how hard it is to get 17 touchdowns in a single season? And he knew it was hard, because here's the problem. Opposing defenses know that Mahomes is going to go to him, so he's going to get double covered a lot. And the other part about it is that when he's trying to get that record against the opposing team, they're going to know, and they're going to try to stop it. It's just what they do. It's the NFL. I'm more flabbergasted at the fact he got close. He got very close. I think he got like 15 by the end of the season. But man, it was hard. And I remember watching him. I'm like, is he going to get it? 2 more games left. Can he get it? And he just couldn't. He couldn't. They had him covered up, and he could not do a thing. He had yards, 155 in the second game, and then like I think it was close to 107 in one game, but he just couldn't get that touchdown because they were just eating him up on the inside, and that's where he gets most of his touchdowns from, is on the inside. So he tried, he did, but Gronk still holds that record. Like the passing yards record, the recorded yards record. The total amount of catches, he's definitely going to surpass Gronk in that aspect, but the other aspects, like the total playoff touchdowns with him and Patrick Mahomes, he won't surpass Brady and Gronk in that, and he's not going to surpass Gronk's single season record. So that's going to be a record that's going to be hard to break. Even with, they must have done that right when the Steelers were becoming just prolifically, because in the 70s it was the Steelers and the Steel Curtain for 9 years that they dominated. They were the statistically best overall defense over a 10-year period. And they had Terry Bradshaw, who's also a 4-time Super Bowl winning quarterback, with that team at the time. Now, do I think Terry Bradshaw is an all-time great quarterback? No, I don't. Because I look at his touchdown to interception ratio, and oh man, he benefited from that Steel Curtain defense. He benefited greatly because he has 215 total touchdowns to 213 interceptions. It's like a 2 to 3 difference. Like, dude, any quarterback in this era that throws like that would have to have the Steel Curtain defense just to be even a Super Bowl champion. But back then, I guess it just worked. But I mean, to me, Terry Bradshaw benefited from that Steel Curtain. Now, my dad would give me a mouthful if he heard me saying this. He was a hardcore Steelers fan, and he absolutely was a Terry Bradshaw fan, and he believed in the Bradshaw, as he called it. So I know what he liked, but I just don't agree with him. Not on this. Bradshaw benefited from that defense. A statistical defense that was considered the greatest statistical defense over a 10-year period. And they had Mean Joe Green. The Legion of Boom was not because of Russell Wilson. He was a product of a great system that involved having an elite running back with a top 5 offensive line and a top 5 defense. That will make any quarterback successful. We've seen it before. You see it all the time. Troy Aikman's a great example of that. When you have an elite offensive line, a top 5 running back, and an elite defense. You see it with the Patriots. When they have an elite offensive line, you've got a top 5 running back, and then you've got a top 5 defense. It helps develop. Now, how the quarterback does after that defense O-line start to deplete is a good determining marker if they were really successful in everything that they did. And that's why I'm just not really held up that Russell Wilson was the cornerstone of that team and what they did. He was important to it, but he wasn't the reason. I don't think they could have plugged in any quarterback to make it work, because being able to scramble after a play and extend the play is extremely important. That's why I'm a big firm believer in Tom Brady, because he improved with every single year. And his stats are better in his late 40s than they were in his early 20s. And then you've got players like Lamar Jackson who have gotten statistically better every single year. You've got players like Josh Allen who have improved their game by learning to read plays better. Because that I believe was Josh Allen's biggest downfall. He just didn't have the ability to judge when he needed to not be a superhero. Just throw the ball, man. Throw it into tight coverage. Don't be that guy. Like, chill out. Okay, I am back. I want to be clear about Aaron Rodgers. He should have been the rivalry with Tom Brady. It should have been the Packers and the Patriots in the Super Bowl for a 10-year stint. It should have been them, but it never was, because Aaron Rodgers would always come up a little bit short in the NFC Championship games. It should have been Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady as the rivalry. It just should have been the most clutch quarterback in Brady against the most talented quarterback, Rodgers. That's what the Super Bowl should have been. I mean, Rodgers had a 10-year period with the chance to dethrone Tom Brady, and he just didn't get the job done. Man, but it should have been Aaron Rodgers. That's something I'll never get over. We were deprived of Packers Patriots Super Bowls, just like how it should have, like it was with Magic Johnson and Larry Bird with those Celtics and Lakers in those 4 championship games. It should have been these guys having those types of battles in the Super Bowl. I would have loved that. If it was a Packers, Patriots and Aaron Rodgers Packers going toe-to-toe in 4 Super Bowls, Rodgers could win 2, Brady could win 2, or Rodgers could win 3 and Brady wins 1. I mean, that is what I want to see. That would have mattered to me, because then we'd be having a hugely different conversation about who's the GOAT. Because you would be looking at Rodgers like he beat Brady in 3 of those. He did. That's just how I look at it, man. It should have been that rival. They didn't give it a proper ending, but close enough. Close enough. All right, we got a quick one here. I want to see Benchwarmer Brand. He does funny shorts, like hilariously funny shorts. But he's very silly with the things he does.
The most accurate, most perfect, not at all chaotic tier list of every starting quarterback for 2025. As you'll see here, we've got our tier list, but we're not going to just go by the S, A, B, C, D format, because honestly, I think that's kind of boring. So we're going to rename these tiers and add a lot more as we go. And the way we're going to do this is we're actually going to go by tier. So I'm not just going to, see Aaron Rodgers here and say, oh, where does he go? I'm going to create the tiers from top to bottom, so from best to worst, basically, and then put the guys in each tier that belong. So first things first, we are going to rename this S tier to Elite. Obviously, this is for the truly best of the best, top tier, literally, quarterbacks in the NFL. And we got to start with the reigning MVP, Josh Allen. When it comes to one-man offenses in the league, you're really not going to get much better than him.
And that's Josh Allen's problem. One-man offense. He can't keep doing that, because here's the thing. Everyone says he doesn't have enough on the Bills' offense to do anything with. He's such a gifted physical specimen. There's no reason why he can't evolve his game to be more brain developed. As in learning to read the defenses to make the plays that he needs to make without having to put his body in harm's way.
I don't think anybody would blame you if you said, you had to start an NFL franchise today and you wanted to pick Josh Allen. Don't really think anybody would bat an eye. So he absolutely belongs in that elite tier, as does Lamar Jackson. 2 guys who both just put up insanely eye-popping numbers every single season, and who unfortunately just both have not been able to win the big one yet. But these are 2 guys who really have defined the position of this generation and are just obviously clearly elite.
There's always 5 elite quarterbacks. So if he doesn't have 5, I'm going to be shocked. And I've got my 5. I'm going to see if he's going to name them.
Much else I have to say about it. Next, we are going to put Joe Burrow in the elite tier. Different from these other 2, obviously, in the sense that rushing is not a big part of his game. I mean, he can do it. He'll add a couple hundred yards, handful of touchdowns each year. But it's not his calling card. He'd much rather just dissect the defense through the air, making them wonder what the hell else they're supposed to do to stop him. He's really kind of a throwback player in that way, because I think the league really is moving toward, their top tier quarterbacks all having to have some sort of at least well above average rushing ability.
Yeah, the league's going that way. Dual threat quarterbacks are the future.
Instead, Burrow is very much in that Tom Brady, Peyton Manning sort of mold. Next, we have the elite but get your numbers up tier. And this is for none other than Patrick Mahomes.
Why? Why does everyone do this to Mahomes? Why? It's like the Andy Reid argument is going to be the same with Brady and Belichick. Until Mahomes leaves Kansas City and goes win a Super Bowl at another team, he's going to be stuck in that, oh, it was Andy Reid and not him. We know how great Andy Reid is as a coach. What he did with the Eagles, sensational, making 4 NFC championships. We get it. But Reed did not win a Super Bowl until he got Mahomes. Mahomes was on the precipice of winning his first Super Bowl in 2019 on his MVP run, but he lost to the Patriots and Brady in overtime. So there's no argument here. Mahomes was elite coming out the gate. Elite, but get your numbers up. Okay. It's a hard argument for me to determine if it's more Mahomes or if it's what he's got, or if it's the coaching and not the right play calls. It's a combination of multiple factors. Can Mahomes' numbers be better? Yes. But has he been efficient? God, yes. He's been very efficient.
Now look, for all intents and purposes, Mahomes is still in the elite tier with those three other guys. I just felt the need to call out the fact that he does kind of need to get his numbers up. Obviously, he's got all the Super Bowls, all the accolades, but I do feel the need to acknowledge that these last 2 years, Mahomes' numbers haven't been anything crazy.
All right. Let's look at this. There's his big 2018 run. That was the year that he lost to Brady. And I want to keep in mind, Brady, Peyton, and Mahomes are the only quarterbacks to throw for 50 touchdowns, but Brady's the only one to have single-digit interceptions with 8. But you get to this, and you look at this, and you say his numbers are way down. But it's because of the direction the offense had to go. Because before this tenure, this 2018 to 2022, he had a deep pass offense. Their offense has evolved since then because since the 2021 season, when the Bucks gave everyone the formula to beat Mahomes and the Chiefs, that's why the numbers and stuff are way down. It's hard to push off an offense that is designed for deep ball passing to go to short game and short passes and be efficient. Brady's numbers have looked like this. They have in his career. But we have to be honest, because of the Bucks and the Super Bowl 55 and Todd Bowles' elite defensive call, they dissect him with 2 deep on every play. But it's not easy to do that because you have to have an elite 4 front, and the Bucks had that. But they were facing a depleted offensive line within the Chiefs. But it's a copycat league. Teams started copying that formula, and as a result, that's why Mahomes' numbers have not been great. Since 2021, and that year, when they dissected him, the defenses have read Mahomes and that deep ball offense, so they had to find ways to get around it. So their offense changed. It's just what teams do. They change.
Chiefs have really morphed into this, ball control, slow pace style of game, and that's just hurt Mahomes' numbers. Not necessarily his fault, but there are also portions of the season where he's not playing very well. You can count on him to play well when it really matters, which is all that really matters at the end of the day. But I just think
that's why you pay him. It's the clutch gene. Are you good when it matters?
We're beyond the point of him automatically being everybody's, number 1 quarterback in the league.
It's just a given. For me, it's not, but it is a given. If you're going to have a top 5 list, Lamar, you're going to have Mahomes in there, usually at number 1. It's just a given.
I just don't think he's that guy by default anymore with how well these other 3 have been playing. And I'm sure there are going to be people out there that say, oh, well, those other guys don't make it to the Super Bowl. I mean, Burrow did it once, but they don't really get there. It's not a quarterback versus quarterback battle that is preventing that from happening. It's the fact that the Chiefs defense is really, really good, so they're making life really, really hard for guys like Burrow, Lamar, and Josh to get to that Super Bowl instead of the Chiefs. Again, this isn't to take anything away from Patrick Mahomes. It's just,
See, when you do this and you say Mahomes is like he's in the top 5, but you're rating him at number 4, you're pretty much making everyone go, dude, still, he's up there. I'm like, he's still number 1 to me. He just is. Lamar's my favorite guy, but I'm going to call it as I see it. As long as Mahomes is continuing to make AFC championships and winning them, he's still going to be the guy and having winning records. I mean, let's go back a bit. I mean, when you look at this and the 6 seasons when he was just elite in the 2 MVP seasons, it's just, there's a reason why. Deep ball passing offense. That's what they had. Teams didn't know how to stop it until 2021 when the Bucks showed you how to stop it. That's why, if you notice, his interceptions stayed in double digits, because no one had the formula until the Bucks.
Anything crazy. The Chiefs aren't at fault anymore with how well these other three have been playing. And I'm sure there are going to be people out there that say, oh, well, those other guys don't make it to the Super Bowl. I mean, Burrow did it once, but they don't really get there. It's not a quarterback versus quarterback battle that is preventing that from happening. It's the fact that the Chiefs defense is really, really good, so they're making life really, really hard for guys like Burrow, Lamar, and Josh to get to that Super Bowl instead of the Chiefs. Again, this isn't to take anything away from Patrick Mahomes. It's just,
But when you have to keep reiterating stuff when it comes to that argument, you're making it more obvious Mahomes should be number one, so you don't have to make all these arguments.
I'm watching him a little bit. I'm curious. I want to see, can he get his numbers back up to where he is that clear, by default, number one guy?
He probably wouldn't be saying this if his touchdowns were 30 to double-digit interceptions. But 27 and lower, I can see his point, but it's Mahomes. Mahomes is number one
in the NFL. Next up, we've got real good, especially in the playoffs. These are guys who are
If he puts Dak Prescott in there, I'm going to giggle.
very good quarterbacks, but it's also kind of their calling card that they rise when the games truly matter when we get to that postseason. I think the poster child for this right now is Jalen Hurts. I'm seeing kind of everybody try to jump through hoops to keep Jalen Hurts, outside of their top 5, whatever.
Jalen Hurts is top 5 when he has a good run game behind him. We've seen this before. Everyone. If you give a good quarterback a good running back who's one of the top 5 in the league at that point, their game improves because you're taking the ball out of the quarterback's hands so they don't have to throw it 40 times a game. See, it's one thing when it was Brady, who, when he didn't have a run game, had to throw 30 or 40 times a game and still had great stats. But it's another thing with Jalen Hurts when he needs that. He's like Dak Prescott. If you give him an elite running back, he's going to look good. And it's the same thing every time. That's why the Cowboys should have gone after Derrick Henry. They should have, but they didn't. And personally, I don't think Derrick Henry would have thrived with Dallas. They would have been much better because Dak wouldn't have had the ball in his hands so much.
For quarterbacks in the NFL, and I get it. He is a little bit more limited in his skill set than some other guys may be, and he does have probably the best overall supporting cast in the league, which is why people are like, oh, it's not really him, it's all these other guys. And
that's going to be the argument for Lamar. If he does win a Super Bowl like this year with the talent that he's got all around him, the argument then is going to go back to, oh, well, he had all those guys around him. I don't think he can do it regardless. Until I see Jalen Hurts win a regular season MVP, you can't convince me otherwise.
I think they're right to an extent, but you also have to look at the fact that Jalen Hurts may have objectively played his 2 best games as a pro in Super Bowls. Like, this is a guy that once you get to the Super Bowl, he's not only not going to lose that game for you, he's going to actively elevate your team when he gets there. And I think there's something to be said for that. So I'm going to put him here as essentially my 5th best quarterback just because he's shown such a propensity to get it done. Similar vein, but this is just a guy that's been around for a really long time. Obviously, really good in the regular season, really good in the postseason, finally got that Super Bowl a couple years ago, and that is Matthew Stafford. Some of the best pure arm talent in the league, even at age 37, and another guy who you would be more than happy is leading.
He's taking some hits, man.
Next, we're going to have real good, but playoffs need work. I think you could probably guess who's going in this tier. It's Justin Herbert.
I feel like the real good, but playoffs need work. If Dak Prescott ends up there, I'm going to be like, of
the best pure talent we have in the league today, but just seems to collapse at the wrong time all the time.
The reason why I want to see this video is I want to see where he puts Dak Prescott. I'm really curious.
Like, his touchdown interception ratio in the regular season was insane. 23 touchdowns, only 3 picks the entire year. And then he throws 4 picks in a single playoff game against the Texans. What? And that's why he's kind of earned this reputation as if man. I mean, the king of hypotheticals. People always say, oh, if Justin Herbert just did this, then he'd be great. Or if this happened around him, then he'd be really good. And
that's the same arguments you hear when people try to argue Brady. Rob Parker is a fine example of this. If this had happened, he wouldn't have won. If this had happened, but it didn't happen, he still won.
And I think we're all kind of waiting for that to still come together. And I think it's fair to still acknowledge all of the great underlying traits that he has. But for now, I just don't think I could put him any higher than this, not above guys who have shown that they are able to elevate their teams in the games that matter the most. I still love me some Herbert though. Next, we are continuing our real good tiers with real good for 1 year. This is not meant to be disrespectful. This is not meant
It's 100% to be disrespectful. Don't hold back. Be honest.
to be backhanded. It's just the reality that these guys were really good, but for only 1 year, so we can't get...
God, and I hate the ESPN, how they always like, oh my God, this dude was so good this year. Oh, it's going to be elite. He's going to be so great. I'm like, man, no.
Give them too much credit just yet. Jaden Daniels is a guy that a lot of people are already putting in top 5 conversations, and I mean, I don't blame them. He just had arguably the greatest rookie quarterback season of all time. Got the Commanders all the way to the NFC Championship game after years of just being complete garbage. And I really won't blame you if you have him top 5, but I just want to pump the brakes a little bit because you never know what a guy's going to look like in year 2, which was exemplified by the other guy that I'm going to put in this tier, and that is CJ Stroud. He was really good his rookie year, and then last year...
I agree with him on these. This is where they belong. That's where they need to be. They are not top 10. They're just getting started. It's not that big of a deal. Let them cook for 2 to 3 years before we start making all these weird conclusions on where they're going to be. Seriously, man.
Took a step back for mostly reasons that I don't believe were his fault, but it has created a situation now where we want to see how well he can bounce back from that.
And of course, 4 of the top 5 QBs would be in the AFC. The AFC is just every freaking decade loaded with talent on the quarterback position. It's nuts.
Diversity this year. You've got 2 guys in this tier that I think have all the raw talent and ability to honestly ascend to that elite tier one day. But for right now, we just have to take a little bit more of a wait and see approach because we just don't know exactly what they're going to turn into, and they both only have exactly 1 good season under their belts. Next up, we have the system gods, respectfully. I think the term system quarterback has gotten thrown around way too much in a negative way, and that anytime you say that now, people just think you're saying that the quarterback is god-awful if it's...
Game managers is what we call them. System quarterbacks are game managers. Brady was a systems quarterback for his first 5 years. But after 2007, you can't say that anymore. And then you have the whole game manager mechanic as well. Brady was a great game manager in his first 5 years. 2007, after that, you can't say that anymore.
It's not for the system that he's in. No, that's not the case. The quarterbacks that I'm going to put in here, I think are very, very good for their system, and there's something to be said for that. Not just any quarterback out there in the world can be thrown into a system and then, make that system good. These are guys that I think we have to acknowledge the fact that they have, some of the best coaching, coordinators, talent around them, offensive lines, whatever it may be, that has really enhanced their ability to produce big numbers when maybe their underlying physical traits, aren't anything crazy. We're not looking at guys with Justin Herbert's arm talent or Lamar Jackson's rushing ability. We're looking at guys that are a little bit more limited, but just as able to lead an elite offense.
To be clear, with Lamar, Josh, Joe, and Mahomes and Hurts, the reason why they're top 5 is a whole lot, but for me, it's always the clutch gene. Can you do it when it matters? That's what matters. Clutch gene is the biggest reason for most of these quarterbacks who got 2 or 3 Super Bowls. Are you good when you need to be? Clutch gene.
Offense and kind of steer that ship. Number 1 guy when I think of this tier is Jared Goff. Has put up good numbers year after year now in that Lions offense. He's really found a home there. Next, I'm going to put Baker Mayfield. Guy who really floated around the league for a while. Granted, it was with some of the worst organizations in the sport, between the Browns and the Panthers. But now that he's in Tampa, he's really gotten comfortable there. And I'm glad because he's one of my favorite players to watch play. The newly paid Brock Purdy is also going to go in this tier. Again, a guy where there's something to be said for someone who won't lose you big games when he's on a team that finds itself in big games more often than
I don't agree with that take. I do not. There was a game against the Ravens where they were determining MVP, where Lamar won his second MVP, and it came down to that 49ers game, and the Ravens tore the 49ers a new one. It was bad. They just tore them asunder. And everyone goes back to that ref who tripped Lamar. And everyone says, oh, well, that looks rigged. And I'm like, no, it was just a ref tripping, looking. and he wasn't smiling when he fell. His teeth were out because he was like, trying to be stiff and trying to hope he doesn't trip him, but he did. And Lamar tore them apart. The defense for the Ravens tore the 49ers apart. The 49ers is a system-ran team. If the system fails, they don't win. And more often than not, they do win because of their system. It's just what they are. It's what the Shanahans are. Their system has to work 90, 100% of the time for them to be effective.
Not, last season notwithstanding for the 49ers. Got his new contract precisely because he is the exact type of quarterback that is built to run a Kyle Shanahan offense, and they don't want him going anywhere else. And lastly, I struggled if I wanted to put this guy in this tier because it feels just a little too high for him considering the fact that he was only a rookie last year, but it feels like this is the right place for him considering the context. And that's Bo Nix. Bo Nix was not a slam dunk prospect coming out of college. He was a guy that a lot of people...
Bo Nix's upside is a lot higher than people realize. He has a real shot with Sean Payton at being something unbelievable. And I think it's going to happen. Will he be an MVP? No. Will he be a Phillip Rivers? Most likely.
Thought might flop in the NFL given the wrong system. But Sean Payton got this man right, not just because of his coaching, but because the Broncos had one of the very best offensive lines in the league last year, and Payton just knows how to leverage Nix's strengths. Basically, these are four guys who I think if you put them in really, really bad situations, they might flounder more than some of the guys above them if they were in bad situations. But you need to give them credit for putting up incredible numbers in the situations they're in, because again, not just anybody can do that. Next, we've got probably underrated, a group of guys who I think you could probably argue are better than the system gods, and maybe that they even belong in one of the real good tiers. But they've all just been overlooked for one reason or another, and I just want to acknowledge that even though I'm putting them down here because that just kind of feels like where they should be, I might be wrong. I might be underrating them like the rest of the world seems to be. First in this tier, we're going to go with Dak Prescott. Probably underrated just because he's coming off of an injured season and has to deal with the constant circus that is the Dallas Cowboys. But we've seen him put up numbers with the best of them when he's fully healthy.
Yes, but we call them empty calories for a reason. They're empty calories because he's putting them up against either bad teams or he's losing the game while putting up gaudy numbers that don't win the game. Like, let me put up 400 passing yards and 2 touchdowns, but I'll have 3 interceptions. But hey, look at those numbers. That's what you're getting. I said it before and I'll say it again. You got to have a good run game for quarterbacks like Dak and Jalen. You just have to. They cannot be responsible for throwing the ball 30, 40 times a game every game. They need a running back. And yes, the Cowboys are a circus, mainly because of Jerry Jones, which honestly should retire and just hand over the prospects to his son.
Next, we've got new Las Vegas Raider, Geno Smith, another guy who I think is one of the best pure passers in the league. Still doesn't seem to be getting the credit he's really due because he was such a late bloomer. Having a quarterback that's very accurate and very cerebral with a coach he's familiar with, surrounded with weapons like Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty, Jacoby Myers, I think we're going to have a good year out of Geno. And rounding out the probably underrated tier is going to be Jordan Love. Much like Dak, I think a victim of injury last year, kind of dampening the outlook on him. You just don't really hear a lot of people talking about Jordan Love right now. But this is a guy that 2 years ago had 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions in his first year as a starter. I think if we get a fully healthy year out of him, we could definitely be looking back at this tier list like, man, that guy is way too low. Our next tier is Bryce Young.
Oh, the pain. The pain.
Really didn't know where else to put him except giving him his own tier. Because, you could argue that I could have put him in the real good for 1 year tier, but in reality, he was only real good for half a year. And I also just can't really justify putting him above guys like Goff and Baker just yet. But it feels like this is where he belongs from guys I would want to have on my team perspective.
Man.
So yeah, Bryce Young. Speaking of guys who I would want to be the quarterback on my team, next up is going to be the eyes emoji tier, which is going to be filled with potential more than results at this point. But they're guys who I trust their potential enough to say that
I think one of his tiers are going to be the I need to retire tier. Just retire, go away.
Eyes emoji tier, and they are honestly startlingly similar players, at least in terms of their situations that they're in. And that's Caleb Williams and Drake May. Both top 3 picks in the 2024 draft. Both had horrible situations their rookie years, and both kind of...
This is why I feel sorry for Mac Jones. Had he been able to keep his previous offensive coordinator, I don't think he would have struggled as hard as he did, because Belichick made some weird decisions.
Showed some talent that shined through despite that. And now both have had just complete roster and coaching turnover heading into their second year. I think there's a lot of hype behind these guys heading into their second year, and rightfully so, because it seems like both their franchises are making the right decisions to put them in the best place to succeed. And I'm excited to watch both these guys play this year, not just because, you know, Drake May is on my team, but I think they're both really, really talented
How ironic that he's a Patriots fan. He always makes fun of Brady, but he is a Patriots fan.
players, and watching what they can do in a not total dumpster fire situation is going to be some good TV. And again, I know we have some solid vets still left in this little bank of players down here, but these are guys that I would just rather have the upside for than, you know, the vets that are still down here that you kind of know what you're getting from them at this point. Like, yes, have they proven more than Caleb and Drake made to this point? Absolutely. Obviously, Tua Tagovailoa has done more in the NFL than both these guys have. But would I rather lock myself into Tua for the next several years or take a shot on these guys who seem to have, you know, a lot of talent, were top 3 picks in their draft just a year ago? I'd rather have that. Which brings me to the I'm tired boss tier. This is the tier for guys that just seem to refuse to take that next step. They've been around several years now, in some cases have been talked about as like possible MVP level players if things broke right, but things just haven't broken right in quite a while. Trevor Lawrence, probably the poster boy for this at this point. I do have some hope that with them bringing in Liam Cohen, who can hopefully design a bit more creative and effective of an offense for him, that he might not be in this tier by the end of the year. But the fact remains, the numbers just haven't been there. I mean, this was supposed to be the prince that was promised to the league, right? And yet it just hasn't come together. In a similar vein, we've got Kyler Murray, another guy who seemed like he was very suited for the modern NFL with his combination of passing and rushing.
He's too
but outside
small.
of a brief stint where he had DeAndre Hopkins and
He's
was
just too
chucking
small
balls to him down the field all day, we haven't seen that come together either. I mean, we're heading into year 7 for Kyler Murray. If he hasn't taken that next step yet, I don't know that he's going to. And finally, we have Tua Tagovailoa. Tua goes into I'm tired boss for kind of a different...
He goes into the I get hit really hard and I suffer concussions and really should have just retired. He's going to have some long-lasting effects after he's done.
reason than Trevor and Kyler, because I, along with a lot of people, I don't think ever envisioned the super high-end upside for Tua that we envisioned for guys like Trevor and Kyler. Tua goes into I'm tired boss just because I am tired of hearing about him and watching him. Like, obviously you've got the injuries, which were super unfortunate and you never want to see those, but those seem to happen, you know, every other year at this point. And then when they don't, even when he does have a season where, you know, he put up pretty good numbers and the Dolphins look like the greatest show on turf, he's chucking bombs to Tyreek Hill all day, they get to the playoffs and just lay a big egg, big old wet fart anytime the Dolphins have to play in weather that's even remotely cold. I'm just tired of it, and I don't see it really going anywhere is kind of more what I mean by putting him in this tier. I don't see Tua taking that next step to be like, oh, we're happy we committed all our money to this guy. It just feels like they're in no man's land. Next up, we've got the Bridge Boys. These are quarterbacks who are solid bridge quarterbacks, guys
Joe
who
Flacco's
will
a good
go
one.
out there and, you know, put up decent performances most of the time, I would say, but not guys that you really belong in the NFL, but not someone that you want your team to be signing to like a 4-year deal. Exhibit A for this is going to be Sam Darnold. Darnold had an awesome year with the Vikings leading that Kevin O'Connell offense, but I still think there are questions about his long-term viability. Obviously, he just fell apart completely at the end of the season in the games that truly mattered, which is concerning going forward, especially heading to Seattle now where they're not going to be surrounding him with as much as he had in Minnesota. But he still showed something in Minnesota that I don't think we knew he really had, which was the ability to be a competent starting NFL quarterback given the right situation. So I think he's a solid bridge quarterback while a team tries to find its next guy. And then similarly, we've got Justin Fields. Justin Fields, you at least know, will be fun to watch if he's your bridge.
Justin Fields, I feel like he got the bad end of it, just like Mac Jones. I think they were both could have been great quarterbacks. They just didn't have the coaching.
Quarterback. I don't think the Jets are under any delusion that like he's going to be their guy for, again, you know, the next decade or whatever. But he's a guy I want to see on the field. He's a guy that I am happy has a starting job in the NFL, and I do think deserves one, just not for a team that's like really taking itself seriously. Next up, we've got, who knows? Just not enough evidence either way to put these guys anywhere else. Starting with Cam Ward, #1 overall pick in this past draft. I think he's got the tools to be a really good NFL quarterback, but, you know, people thought that about Jamarcus Russell too, and I'm not saying he's Jamarcus Russell, I'm just saying we haven't seen him play an NFL snap yet, so I can't reasonably put him anywhere other than kind of
I like the Bryce Young one,
Another
though.
guy who hasn't played an NFL snap yet outside of the preseason, JJ McCarthy, is going to go in this tier. Just don't know enough about how he's going to adapt from college to the pros yet to put him anywhere else. And rounding it out, we've got Michael Penix Jr. Obviously has a bit more NFL experience than these other
Be
guys,
right
but
back.
still not enough for me to make.
All right, I'm back.
Make any sort of declarative statements about him. I'm excited for him. I'm excited for the Falcons. I think the upside is there, but as of now, we just don't know. Next, we just have old, and obviously Aaron Rodgers is going in old. I will
Russell
give
Wilson.
Rodgers some credit. His numbers last year really weren't bad. I mean, 28 touchdowns to 11 interceptions on the Jets. You really can't complain too much about that. At the same time, you know, there's just no future for Aaron Rodgers. He's 41 years old, so if he's your quarterback, he will not be for very long. And so he very well may outproduce some of these guys that are above him, especially in the who knows tier, who, you know, they could just be a complete complete mixed bag of outcomes, but I just don't, nothing about having Aaron Rodgers as my quarterback in 2025 excites me. Also getting old is Russell Wilson, another guy who, because of age, you just can't really get excited about as your starting quarterback. The Giants aren't going to be contenders this year, so he's kind of just there to hold down the fort until whenever Jackson Dart's ready, or whenever the Giants want to instill a large amount of chaos into the NFL by giving Jameis the starting job. Who knows, maybe that'll happen at some point. But yeah, right now, Russ, I mean, really the main thing to describe him is just old. Our next tier is Yikes, and this is just for Anthony Richardson. I'm still holding out hope that he can be something in the league, but as of right now, he's literally the worst passer in the sport. Not an exaggeration. We're talking 47% completion percentage. Literally the bottom of the NFL. So as much as I'm still enticed by that, you know, dual threat ability with his legs, it's not really dual threat. That's kind of the only threat. The arm is not a threat at this point. I know there are some reports out there that he got his eyes corrected this offseason, that he's been working with whoever Josh Allen worked with to improve his accuracy. But for now, I mean, 47% completion, like he
not a Lamar Jackson,
no way.
not improving.
Next up, we
every
have
year.
Who Knows second round edition. I didn't want to put Tyler Shuck in the regular Who Knows tier because those guys are all highly drafted, highly thought of prospects, right? So I want them to be in their own tier by themselves. Tyler Shuck, we don't know. We have no idea what he's going to be. We think he's probably going to be the starter for the Saints this year, but we have
Joe
no idea what
Flacco's
he's
a
going to
bridge
be.
boy.
But he's also a second round pick. So like those expectations are even lower. The upside is seemingly even lower. So I had to put him lower than the first Who Knows tier. Just kind of is what it is. And lastly, we've got the Browns. And I'm going to put Joe Flacco in here, but it can be Joe Flacco or whoever you want. This is one of the quarterback situations where I think we truly have no idea who's going to be out there week one. It could be one of four guys: Flacco, Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. And I put this tier at the bottom to say that is just the worst quarterback situation in the league by a mile. Like, let's look at the candidates who are in this four-way quarterback competition. You've got million-year-old Joe Flacco, who, as much as I think has that positive sentiment around him for what he did with the Browns a couple years ago, his overall numbers are not very good, and he's old. So it's not going to be pretty if he ends up their starter this year. Kenny Pickett, complete flame out with the Steelers. And then two rookies drafted in the third and fifth rounds. Obviously, one of those rookies could ascend and prove to be the guy. I mean, we've seen mid to late round quarterback picks, you know, ascend occasionally. But at least on paper, this looks like the most desolate, disgusting quarterback situation in the league, and as far as preseason tier lists go, has to be treated as such. So we have the Browns tier. In fact, I'm going to make it gray just to make it even sadder. I would make it brown, but they don't give me that option. But there you have it. Zoomed it out so you can see it all at once. Your
thought it was pretty
ultimate
good.
2025 quarterback tier list.
Oh man, his Bryce Young take. Oh, it's so true. Oh, the Browns. Detroit Lions used to be that category, but not anymore. Not anymore. They've turned it around, man. They've turned it around. All right. That was too much. Thank you. Thank you, funny shorts guy. All right, we are moving on to more Pegasus. They just hit rock bottom. I think this is about... this should be about the H3 and the Hassan orbiters and the lawsuit.
Good, it's playing in theaters now. In today's video, Hassan is panicking and trying to control his insane community. Hassan orbiters continue to get cooked. Local puck, iDubbbz, is finally back and is getting absolutely destroyed by his own fans. Streamer XQC has called out Hassan for being a massive hypocrite. Hassan continues his beef with Asmongold and Tectone, and a bunch of more updates. Subscribe for some free ice cream, vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, whatever.
Yeah, Ethan Klein, I've noticed, has been coughing a lot. From what I understand, he has Tourette's, and that coughing is because of that. It's just a weird thing he has that most people with Tourette's have.
You want, delivered by Jellywig.
Let's up those numbers!
Now let's begin with Hassan talking to his community in Discord. Here we got a Discord chat. Hassan says, "Be normal, guys. Just treat people with kindness."
Those are not words for Hassan. Not at all.
Of course. Don't assume that everyone's a fascist. Assume that they can change for the better. Have charitability for all. Suck it up and educate people. Be cool like me. Be cool and like a...
Everything's in lowercase. No oh boy, the multiple single four word to 5 letter sentences. Holy crap.
Well, of course, you need to sell the shit to others. Okay, so much to say there. First off, what do you mean by sell the shit to others? Clearly, he wants to sell his ideology, which involves supporting terrorists, of course. He says,
I can't understand these people that come from well-off families becoming socialists. I don't get it. They've never suffered a day in their lives, but they think they have, and they think they're the right ones to communicate about socialism. Boy.
be normal, treat people with kindness, kind of like you treat, anybody that disagrees with you, random Zionists, PDF files, mom murderers, the way you talk about Jews in general.
You are left with a country that is packed to the fucking gills with the most inbred, uneducated, ultra-nationalist, rabid, Haredi population.
I don't feel like that classifies as very kind, and
I feel like anybody that wants to speak crap about the country that they live in and still continue to benefit from what the country is giving them and have done well with it shouldn't be allowed to be in the country anymore. Seriously, why do you gotta talk crap about your own country and continuously push weird narratives that don't apply to anything? I mean, I have yet to see him, when he's talking about these weird things that he says, take any positive data to back up those points.
I feel like your cover doesn't work anymore because one of your orbiters, Mike from PA, messed up and accidentally exposed what you guys actually believe.
It is Jewish is not an ethnicity. This constructed ethnicity. This demonic ethnicity.
By educate people, he basically means not like going to college or trying to, educate yourself on the facts on the internet or doing any sort of research at all. He means go straight to his stream and watch him 10 hours a day so you can get brainwashed and become a fucking mind-numbing NPC.
Or you can do what he's been doing where he'll watch videos and then disappear from the chair for the entire video and then come back, thus depriving the actual YouTuber who made the video of any views other than the one view he gave, just so he can give them a big fat middle finger. Not transformative work, clearly not transformative, and no valid points to apply to it other than his audience watching it. He gets the views, and the YouTuber who made the video doesn't. This is why when I do these types of videos, reaction content, every one of them will provide the original video in the description. Because if I'm going to re-upload a VOD, I will provide the link. There's no reason not to.
I mean, I don't know why he randomly sent this message. I feel like, I guess the calling everybody a Nazi tactic wasn't actually working, but
Possible Twitch is coming down on him, but we'll see.
it's just funny to see this guy saying be cool and likable. The most unlikable man, arguably, on the internet right now. People responded, I genuinely do feel bad for Hassan. I think Ethan does too. He's so boxed in with his fan base and dumb orbiters like Mike that he probably has moments like this because he realizes how many dipshits he has around.
He brought this on himself. And it's slowly going downhill for him. Eventually, his own fans will eat him out. Because that's the type of people that they are. Deranged people with weird life takes.
Around him. I mean, I thought like this first, but I feel like Hassan has had a million chances to correct this behavior. He is exactly like them. Like, I don't think he's a slave to his audience anymore. Like, he genuinely believes this shit. Is this a journal entry to himself? Probably. Is it normal to support Hamas? No, actually, that's not normal. Be normal, and we have that fan that came up to him and said, please stop drinking Diet Coke. It's on the BDS list. If you stop drinking Coke, obviously Palestine will automatically be saved. In fact, I think Hassan should take it one step further. Stop streaming. You know, you're giving money to Amazon, bro. Anyways, moving on to Froggen. Okay, so last time, we were talking about how she was
It's always about the froggen.
dodging the server and a bunch of shit like that. And she
I think
had
she's
5
past the
days to
5-day
respond
window.
before she
I
was
think
gonna
she's
get
past it now.
absolutely cooked and lose by default judgment. Well, turns out, as I predicted, she has actually responded. Froggen has actually gotten a lawyer, guys. Finally,
Okay.
right here we are
Okay.
on Twitter. Ethan responds after the news of the Froggen lawsuit extension, says her attorney reached out right before the deadline. We got this post on ACSU Productions. Ethan has shown unfathomable grace to Froggen by moving to extend her deadline. Stipulation for extension of time to file answer to October 3 complaint.
Woo, she got a
basically,
lot of
It has
time.
been extended by about 60 days now. Her attorney finally reached out right before the deadline. We don't want to win on default judgment because it's open to challenge. Now we will win on the facts of the case. So Froggen has gotten a lawyer and has
I will break this down. She will not win on the facts of the case. She quite literally does what Hassan does, disappears from a chair, and then puts a video up of H3H3 and leaves the chair empty while her fan base watches from her live stream, giving her views but not giving Ethan the views. Ethan's suing for damages because of that.
actually responded to Ethan. And people actually have a different theory about this as well. The reason Ethan is actually giving this grace and extending it by 60 days to respond here is because he wants to go through the entire legal process of getting all her messages as well. So, you know, if you just have a default judgment, you might not be able to get to that level, maybe. Ethan should buy Sabra hummus with her first check from her, so good. It would be better if he won with Froggen by default and bankrupt her ASAP so we had some entertainment watching Froggen goes broke before Denims and Caseytron. I don't think so. I think we need more entertainment, you know, drag the shit out as long as possible, but I'm just a slop tuber.
Yeah,
Obviously, I'm
you are a
biased.
slop
I would love
tuber.
for it to go on, because, you know, some people going broke, some people doing the opposite here. Froggen and Ethan's lawyers have agreed to a 60-day extension after Froggen responded to the lawsuit. Deadline to respond to the complaint is now October 3rd, which actually makes the differences between the case very long. So Denims and Casey will be processed much before Froggen here. She's actually bought herself some time. Therefore, it is hereby stipulated by and between the parties through their respective attorneys of records that the court grant the stipulation that Froggen's deadline to respond to the complaint be continued from August 4, that's when, you know, the deadline we were talking about was, to October 3. Now, Froggen can respond to the complaint with any responsive pleading pursuant with this rule, exception of contesting service. The court entered the order lodged currently herewith. Right, so if I understood that correctly, one of the stipulations here is that it is only extended if Froggen actually accepts that, you know, the service was done properly. I think that was like a fact of contention, whether she was served properly or not, and I think they were contesting. Her lawyer was actually contesting it, but now she'll have to say that, hey, Ethan's server actually did a good job with it. Somebody asked why do people do this? Why grant that? Why agree to it? 60 more days of lawyer fees. I actually didn't think of that. That would, yeah, I feel like the longer this lawsuit goes on, the worse it is for Froggen, Casey, and Denims, because more, you know, more lawyer fees, which Ethan can easily deal with, these people cannot. Shit, not gonna lie, I wanted her to lose by default. I actually, you know, I'm growing fond of her as a character in the series, because how am I gonna do my epic flashbangs if, you know, if she's no longer in the series? I gotta keep you guys on your toes, you know, make you afraid to watch any Pegasus video ever, because you might just randomly play Flash, right? You're just like, you know, having a good time. Oh, I love this Pegasus guy. He's just a great guy. I watch him every day, and then boom, a flashbang, and your day is ruined, you know? You gotta do it to you. You gotta do it to you. I gotta balance your dopamine levels, right? 60 more days of content for Ethan and me. Don't forget me. She probably would have preferred October 7th, so this seems like a good compromise. Oh my god. I mean, probably, yeah. She basically just burned through a chunk of what little she had for nothing. Don't worry, don't worry. She has an extra $100 thanks to iDubbbz, guys. She got an extra $100 from iDubbbz, yes. His wonderful fan base. All the YouTube lures right now. Spectacular content, yo. Froggen the Hut gonna need to dip into the reserve funds to keep eating 30 Big Macs a day. I thought we established it was 52, guys. Now, you guys might think that this was because of Ethan's lawyers and Froggen actually negotiating, but it was actually because of me. Remember last video, I said...
It was because of me. Slop tubers, ego. I guess it comes full circle.
And we tossed a salad into the building and then she came running out. All right, that's how we actually found her, guys. The salad strategy never fails. You don't need flashbangs when it comes to Frogan. All right, you just need a salad, a piece of broccoli, chuck it in there, and she'll come running out. She will actually run for the first time, or whatever Jabba the Hutt does. Can we get a round of applause for Frogan? She has officially not lost by default judgment. Now you are back to square one. You gotta fight the case, which you will still lose. But hey, you bought like 60 days here, congratulations. Also, it seems that Frogan is using an independent lawyer, which is different from Caseytron and Denims because they're going through like this big law firm or whatever. So I don't know why they're not using the same lawyer. If like Casey and Denims are sharing one, surely Frogan can do one too. But maybe they have some beef, maybe. I mean, Casey is happy to throw both of them under the bus, but yeah, I don't know.
Caseytron
Anyways,
is
on to yet
something
another
special.
Psycho Hassan Orbiter, Bad Empanada. Ethan posted this on his Instagram. Bad Empanada's on the run. He knows we are closing in. We suspected he had fled back to Australia, but upon further research and verification, he has actually fled to Uruguay. This information is probably shocking for him to hear, as he went to great lengths to obscure his escape from Argentina to Uruguay. George, if you ever decide to return to Australia, we will be immediately notified and a torrent of lawsuits will follow.
What did this dude do?
You are easy to get in Australia, which is why you're doing everything to avoid returning. I also know you enjoy participating in sugar daddy websites. Ay, every single time, guys, there's some form of degenerate. And while you may barely qualify for the label in South America, you are just a repulsive broke loser in Australia. I know this scares you even more than the lawsuits. Bro, Ethan has some professional private investigators, bro. He got the guy from Mr. Beast.
So, man, he's going after more people than I thought. Like, I know he's going after Reddit moderators and some Discord people who have been posting these large amounts of hate messages about him, defamatory, slander, but he actually wouldn't have gone after those people if they hadn't done something absolutely despicable. They literally threatened to take his kids out of this world, threatened to call CPS on him, and they sent a human skull to his address. These people are out of control. They really are.
This video, dude. Bro actually has John Wick on the case or something, dog. What the hell is going on? And the funniest part about
Think
all
Sherlock
of this
Holmes,
is
not
that
John
this
Wick.
is the guy who was trying to intimidate Ethan. He was trying to appear like this absolute psychopath, which he kind of is, but he was trying to intimidate Ethan, and then Ethan is responding like, hey buddy, I'm hunting you down. You better keep running from country to country. Then he continues, why am I telling you all of this? So he looks over his shoulder every day. We are coming and we will win. You can run from us, but we will catch you and we will ruin you. Have a nice day.
Ethan's had enough. You could tell. This is like JK Rowling all over again with that one
Dude, how
tweet
sad
guy
must your
on
life
Twitter.
be that you legitimately have to go country hopping to avoid lawsuits? The absolute pathetic state of every Hassan Orbiter, man. Moving on to iDubbbz. So iDubbbz is finally back and he's posted a new video called Are You Scared of Immigrants? And what did I say, guys? Views are rapidly declining if we just look at the numbers here. 7 million to 2 million to 500k to 150k, absolutely getting obliterated. In fact, his subscribers have dropped below 7 million. He's back to 6 now. He's gonna have to do another 6 mil special. And what did I say 80 episodes ago when people were bragging, oh, iDubbbz is so popular, he got 7 million views, Hassan was bragging about it, and I told you guys it was literally all just hate watchers. It was people wanting to see his downfall. And guess what? Peg's just vindicated again. In fact, this is getting so bad that people are commenting, oh my god, I didn't even remember I was still subscribed to you. Thanks for reminding me. Gotta unsubscribe now. Now, you would think that after 3 whole months of absolutely having the worst time ever, you know, people exposing him in like a million ways, he and Anissa got exposed
Critical
for
Role
secretly
Foundation.
taking money from a charity event, backstabbing Ethan, lying about him, supporting the
got a
CPS
black
call
eye
on his
there.
kids, and joining the dark side, the Hassan side. You would think that he would have learned, but in fact, he has not learned his lesson. In this video,
That's
he
who
actually
iDubbbz
shouts
is. The dude who that did that meme. Oh, I forget what it was. It was used in a few videos as an irony meme.
Out the GoFundMes of the Hassan Orbiters. Here we got this tweet. IDub shouts out the fundraisers of Denims, Caseytron, and Froggen while scolding Ethan Klein. I really believe in their cases, actually.
I want to bring your guys' attention to some lawsuits that recently dropped. Frogan,
iDubbbz used to be a
and
thing.
Caseytron have all been sued.
No wonder I forgot
and
about
they
it.
are trying to fight this off. I really believe in their cases, and I think it's important to either set a precedent or send a message that just because you're fucking rich and powerful doesn't mean that you can bully people on the internet.
It 100% does mean you can. To people that deserve it. Because if these people weren't responsible for defamation and slander of Ethan and threatening his kids and their very existence, and at the exact same time, quite literally sending a skull to his house. Like, you can't make this stuff up. They did this.
Doesn't mean you can bully women, minorities, or fucking people who are poorer than you. And I think it would be good if they can continue to fight this off. So I'm going to put the links to their GoFundMes down below. All right, everyone, that is going to do it for this episode of iDubbbz Complains.
Dude, what happened to this guy? This absolute pathetic husk of a man, Rick from Game of Thrones. Everybody call him Rick, bruh. This was the commentary legend everybody thought was the coolest guy back in the day. You know, this high IQ guy who could analyze your arguments and shit like that. And look at him now, bruh. This is the biggest
fell off the
fall-off
wagon,
I've
man.
ever seen. First off, it doesn't matter what iDubbbz thinks about the lawsuit. Like, I love how he didn't even mention what the lawsuit is. He's just telling his fan base to go and donate, which basically tells you the intelligence level of these people. He didn't even mention that it's a copyright lawsuit. So he's basically saying, hey guys, just...
It's again, it's the exact same situation from before about transformative content. Because H3H3 was caught up in a lawsuit like this years ago, where they quite literally had to figure out a way to overcome a guy who was threatening to sue them if he didn't get paid $5,000 because they did transformative content on his video. And they were sued. H3H3 won the lawsuit after a year and a half, but he's doing this now. He's coming after them for their abuse of transformative content because it wasn't transformative. They would just play his video, deny him those views, and then just disappear. No commentary, nothing else. Just straight up insults, lies, and just empty chairs. Lots of empty chairs.
take my word for it. This is a false lawsuit. You gotta support the victims here. Like, if you actually thought that, then you would explain the whole situation. Oh, you would argue on the merits of the case. Be like, oh, actually, they did not violate copyright, and this is why it's a false lawsuit. And yeah, basically, iDubbbz is not making a legal argument here. He's basically just going, wah, wah, I don't like it. And obviously, that is just not cutting it in court. And I just hate how these people always try to twist the situation into some form of sexism, racism. Oh, Ethan is just bullying women and minorities. As if his audience doesn't have a lot of women and, you know, he has employees as women. He has Ela, of course. It's basically a pathetic cope, right? Because Ethan specifically said why he actually sued these people.
Yes,
He laid
it
out
was
the
a
extreme
well-informed
boundaries
video.
that they needed to cross. They committed the most severe copyright violations, maliciously stealing content, and admitting malice, okay, which is like the most slam dunk case.
Well, guys, if you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video,
Right there.
follow,
Right
subscribe,
there.
throw a prime if you like the content, if you enjoyed your time here.
And honestly, he would be happy to sue.
Ethan gave a very specific criteria that these people had to meet to get on this suit. What I'm confused about is why he hasn't gone after Hassan. Just the orbiters, but not Hassan himself. I'm curious as to why.
Hassan as well, but unfortunately Hassan was smart enough to not violate copyright there. So anyone with the brain knows that
He did, though. He's done that before with the transformative content. We got videos of him disappearing from his chair quite a bit.
This is not about bullying women and minorities, and him framing it like that.
Maybe
just
he
shows
didn't
that
do
the
as much
old
as those
iDubbbz
other
is
three.
completely gone, and he's turned into this new version of himself, this absolute soy cuck, far lefty extremist piece of shit who associates with Hassan, an open terrorist supporter, and actually thinks he's on the right side. Also, he makes the argument that it's a rich guy bullying poor people. I mean, you're supposed to be rich. Go ahead and help them. I mean, Hassan is rich. Fight back, you know? And yes, I'm aware courts can be exploited with money. Obviously, I don't, you know, I usually don't support that. Obviously, I talk about the CoffeeZilla versus Logan case. Logan, this billionaire trying to win the case, despite actually, in my opinion, being a scammer. He's exploiting the legal system to make it go on as long as possible, and that sucks. But again, I have no sympathy for vile people like Casey, Denims, and Frogan who tried to, you know, ruin Ethan's life and, you know, family essentially. And I can't help but think that Anissa is just behind the camera, you know, controlling every move of this guy. It's just so pathetic. Ethan Klein is a minority though. He's a Jew with Tourette syndrome. He wants to be a bread tuber as well. At least they have good editing. Filming a video in your basement apartment is one thing when you're 23. It's another when you're a middle-aged man. This is just depressing to look at. Yeah, he's definitely ingratiated himself in this new community of bread tubers, right? This is like the Noah Samsons, the Mike
Bread
from
tubers?
PAs, all these like sort of Hassan orbiters, right? And we all know where that path actually leads. It leads to you getting sued, you know, banned, arrested, just all the negative downfalls possible. Wait, did they go so broke from Creator Class 3 that they had to sell all their furniture? Why the frick is he recording this out of a closet? To be fair, this is an improvement. If you watch the previous episodes of the series, this guy, like, his video feed was cutting off, bro. Like, he was sat on the floor with Anissa talking about how he, you know, like, he had to sell his house or something. He's trapped in his, like, basement and he can't even move out or something. It's just so tragic what happened to this guy.
Wow, I
Okay,
didn't know
so
he
here's
had that
the
big of a
fucking
fall
deal.
off.
We're poor.
Newsflash, we're poor. That's why we're in the basement for a third or fourth week in a row.
I don't like Ethan, but I hate his enemies even more. Hopefully it adds him to the lawsuit. This meme is essentially iDubbbz' career. He's just got a guy, clown. iDubbbz needs his own fundraiser. Oh my god, that's crazy. We got this absolute moron. I think Ethan fricked up his whole case by openly admitting it was a setup. Yeah, he tricked them all into stealing his content, obviously. 133. Ay.
He didn't
Oh,
trick
Jesus
him.
freaking
He just
hell. I
waited.
Somehow you keep shoving your foot in your mouth over and over,
They did it
stepping
to
on the rake 100
themselves.
times in a row. How do you not understand what this is about? Watching items this is like watching my grandpa that got dementia. Now, if we look at the comments on his video, he's just getting absolutely toasted. Congrats on 6 million subs. Been here since 7 million. Pay your coaches the money you owe them. Oh my god, the amount of shit that iDubbbz and Anissa have done. Like, they have so much to atone for. You're the reason there's a singular chair in the hotel rooms. He loves watching. He loves watching from the fuck chair. What kind of
Wow.
humiliation ritual is this? This is like his own fans, bro. Oh my god. I really wish YouTube showed the dislike ratio in times like these. Oh yeah, it's like over negative or something at this point. So like 40% or
You can
something.
see it with
I'm
an
still searching for
add-on.
the positive comments. Oh look, Anissa's wife is trying to tell another country how they should behave. What a surprise. Please, Ian, share your thoughts on child marriage next time. Ay.
You
Yeah.
yourself were a child bride?
Yes. So I'm a child bride survivor, and at the age of 12, I was put into a child marriage.
They ignored us when we were like trying to fight child marriage, but then when they found out we
Are they
were gonna be on
pro-child marriage?
Yeah.
take a hard
Must be
stand.
That's why it makes
pro-child
one.
marriage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
begs the question.
Bro is quite literally lobotomized. Dude, I don't know, like something happened to his head, bruh. The divorce arc is gonna be wild. It will be legendary. I just
will
wonder
be
where it all went
legendary.
wrong. Maybe this is all a dream, guys. Maybe you'll wake up tomorrow and iDubbbz is back to being semi-decent. Anyways, if we look at the
He
description
could.
here,
He
iDubbbz
could make
has
a full
linked all
turnaround
of
if he
their,
did quality
GoFundMe
content like he
links.
used to.
And if we actually go to the GoFundMe, iDubbbz has raised almost nothing. It was already 35,000. It is still 35,000. Bro just used an entire video to promote this and literally converted 0 people. Like maybe somebody donated $6, bro. $6. Oh my god, this is so tragic, bro. Denims is also the exact same from when I checked the other day. Casey's is also the same. I think he maybe, you know, if we're being really generous, he might have moved like an extra $100 or something, which is actually tragic for a supposedly 7 million subscriber YouTuber, bro. And it was Ethan responded with this meme, and we just got iDubbbz, and we got him. Diabolical, bro. Absolutely crazy. You know, even
I didn't realize it was like this iDubbbz because I haven't seen him in years, like literally years. I remember the videos he used to make. Content cop, I think is what he called himself. And it was entertaining watching him just break down people's arguments and argue and discuss points from his own perspective. And it was pretty funny.
regardless of iDubbbz's new opinions and everything like that, the thing is, he's no longer funny. Even if you disagree with Ethan, at least he has some humor here, bro. Like, look at iDubbbz, bro. Before and after iDubbbz found the ring Anissa. That's a crazy comparison.
I wonder if his downfall started when he met Anissa. A lot of people seem to be bringing this up. Apparently that must be his wife, the girl that he was sitting next to. I'm not sure if she might be the cause of it. Maybe she has a political takes and he just decided to follow, like on a leash.
Anyways, moving on to XQC versus Hassan. Basically, in the past, Hassan has been...
XQC, I don't watch his content. I know about him. I know about a situation with his ex. I know the issues he's dealt with. But he's not like Hassan. He's just a foreigner whose English is a little bit of a problem, but he just talks funny.
Been calling out any form of gambling, right? Any form of gambling, including gacha games, right? Gacha games have these gambling mechanics. I used to play Pokemon TCG Pocket. I recommend you guys to stay away from gacha games, all right? It really, you know, it unlocks another demon in you, which makes you want to spend money, all right? So, yeah, they kind of suck or whatever, but Hassan is a massive hypocrite about this whole thing. I'm not gonna, like, demonize people for playing it. I've played it myself, right? But yeah, basically, Hassan has this whole moral grandstanding position about all of this. He has this long-standing beef with XQC. Socialism is when you sling gacha games to your audience months after calling it streamlined gambling.
Find the casual anti-gacha discrimination problematic? Okay, well, good luck. I'm not gonna ever fucking defend you because I think gacha in and of itself is also horrible. I don't understand it, but you know, to each their own, but I do feel like that's just also streamlined gambling. What is this? Open one time, open 10 time? Epic or higher rarity skin guaranteed with 10 opens. I don't even know what I'm doing. Wait, what am I doing? A decoder pack? No.
Did he
Buy
get
treasure
sponsorship?
box. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. Hold on. Exchange platinum coins. Please exchange purified data to platinum coin to purchase. Not enough purified data. Purchase more. Okay, I need to get. Okay, I'm purchasing. I'm purchasing. I'm purchasing. I'm purchasing. I'm adding funds. I'm adding funds. I'm adding funds. I'm adding funds. Oh my.
I mean, another classic Hassan moment. The memes just create themselves. I'm adding funds, guys. I'm actually adding funds. I can't believe you're playing a gacha game, guys. Almost like you're a massive hypocrite. Who the freak in that gaming company thought it was a good idea? I wouldn't buy anything Hamas Piker advertises. That's crazy. Anyone sponsoring Hassan at this point is crazy. Socialism is also when you give your critics easy layups like this. But that would be asking him to have principles or even a sense of morality. Dude can't go one day without contradicting himself. Bro is down bad. No ads really hitting the socialists real hard.
I wonder if Hassan's true downfall will happen when he finds a girl.
It's because it's the only one that would actually sponsor him that was apparently unaware of the terrorist support. When his own community doesn't notice, that's how you know they're brainwashed. I mean, that's actual cult behavior. As if defending him to the death wasn't already an indicator. Anyways, XQC had a field day with this. He basically calls out people being delusional and not seeing the facts right in front of their face.
Purified data. Purchase more. Okay, I need to get.
See, I love this chat, man. So yeah, the Hassan schizo, whatever. Dude, it's crazy that the other side you guys you haven't ran dry on like being like a hypocrite. It's kind of crazy.
His English leaves a lot to be desired.
Even when the data is in front of you and it's all there and you can see it.
But I don't think it's his fault. Accents from other countries can make English very dry and hard to understand. Like, I think one of the worst accents to try to listen to people speak to in English is if you got a deep Italian accent or a really deep French accent. It is very hard.
It happens in live motion. It's right there. It's explaining the exact hypocrisy. And you go, he's schizo, he's crazy, he's seeing things as the movie. And is playing in front of you. Guys, I'm not... It's right there. Look, if I click play...
Okay, I'm purchasing.
It's
I'm
right
funds,
there. You can see it.
I'm adding funds.
I mean, WXQC coming in with the actual good takes there. Hassan fans cannot see the facts right in front of their face. They can see their
Any fan of Hassan is not someone you want to associate with if you have a stable mind.
idol there being completely wrong.
Like,
but
really,
instantly
it's
will
just not
ignore
worth it.
anything because he's their infallible deity or whatever, right? Continue engaging in that blatant hypocrisy right there. Right, so this next part, Ethan calls out Hassan. Basically, Hassan was comparing himself to an NYC politician, and then Hila calls him out for, saying that they're, hallucinating anti-Semitism and, branding her as some sort of terrorist.
Only left representatives are Destiny and Hassan.
Well, that's not true either, but...
And they both suck. They're uncharismatic, and they suck. They're horrible. They're horrible representatives of the left. You said we want more Zoran. We want more Zoran Mamdani.
I think Ethan is on the left. I don't remember. I remember he's had some odd fans, and they even blew back against him for something. But I just can't think of it. And by Ethan, I mean this guy down here. Not Hassan. This is Hassan. And this must be Destiny, I assume?
And then you said, I suck.
Hassan, he thinks he is. He thinks he is him. He doesn't even realize he's Hassan Biker. The fucking... The
one that sucks.
terrorist supporting dude with an anger issue that's constantly yelling and screaming at his chat and starting fights with people. You're not him. He doesn't know that he doesn't realize that he's not Mamdani.
And all of the negative associations and all of the drama that follows everywhere I go, that is completely outside of my power because I've just tried to...
It's always been within your power, but you're so deep down the rabbit hole, you might as well just end it there. Just keep going deeper until you can't go any deeper and the rabbit hole comes out with all the rabbits and just clogs and you're stuck.
We could start by not calling my wife a terrorist.
How dare you call me a terrorist every week when anti-Semitism is at an all-time high?
Oh, it is. It's 100% is. I don't know why people have such a dislike of Jewish people. I don't get it. I don't understand it. They make it seem like someone who comes from a well-raised family is somehow responsible for all the bad things that happen to them in their life. This is literally following the trend that Hitler used to push the idea that Jews were the cause of all of Germany's issues. And it's not. It's just simply not. So you get these people, and most of them are just doing it to try to get as many clicks and views as possible. I mean, I want to look at myself. I don't have a lot of viewers, subscribers, followers, and I bet if I went to this extreme left narrative and did all this, I'd probably have people overflowing in my chat and other things like that. But I refuse to, because it's not me and it's not what I am. I don't view politics in that limelight. So for all intents and purposes, when it comes to this stuff, I will never be like that. I will let things come and go as they go, and that's it.
You're hallucinating.
Like, you're just trying to get me killed.
You're hallucinating, sweetheart.
Ah, yes, hallucinating, of course. We're not anti-Semitic at all, guys. And she's totally right? Legitimately, these people will justify murder against these propagandists, right? Anyone who disagrees with them, essentially. And by calling you a terrorist or giving you that label, it gives people in Hassan's audience or these people basically free reign, like, oh, I'm taking down this bad person, right? So it's very dangerous, right? And, the people I call terrorists are actual, U.S. designated terrorist groups, all right? So obviously,
they're on the FBI's
wanted
wanted list,
but
then
what
yes.
Hassan is doing here, calling like Ethan's wife a terrorist, that's just ridiculous. You're legitimately doing.
Haven't heard Hassan call her that, but I don't watch his
Hassan has been
stream, so I have
comparing
no
himself
idea.
to his current favorite politician, the Zoran guy or whatever. He considers himself like the perfect person, the representation of the left or something.
I'm still curious why Ethan has decided not to sue Hassan. It's weird. The amount of defamation and slander is legit with that.
like this deity figure or something. You just don't understand, because in his head he is this narcissistic, flawless person, just on a different level than everybody. So he's always so shocked when people give him bad PR, like, what the heck? You just described me, the perfect person here. How can you say that I'm bad? Now, do you guys remember when Hassan called Israelis inbred? Well, apparently he's actually done this a lot in the past, and this is like just a small portion of the compilation I saw.
Recoiled when people screamed resist by any means, telling us that we are all inbred and that we have no culture. We shudder when an activist held up a sign telling Jewish students they were Hamas's next targets, and we
started chasing us, calling us in the middle of campus, calling us inbred, that we have no culture. One of them grabbed my friend's Israeli flag in the middle of campus.
Just a bunch of fucking inbred hicks. Imagine the most inbred white supremacist guy you can imagine, okay? Inbred fucking douchebag wearing fucking military fatigues, shooting another Israeli dude.
These are the people that are trying to empower other people, and other people are buying it. They are a threat to national security. They hands down are, but our government, again, won't do anything about it. They just let them go, let them talk. And they sit, and it's just like the Supreme Court ruled. You are allowed to, free speech, you can say whatever you want, even if someone doesn't like it, as long as you're not committing treason, threats against the country, slander, or defamation. Hassan has hit the last two, and he's getting darn close to causing issues within the country when it comes to those riots.
Dude, because he thought, I thought he was a terrorist. I thought he was terrorist.
Now he sounds French.
These inbred fucking douchebags in the background, dude.
Dude, how many times has he said the word inbred? And especially in that context as well, I feel like there's no excuse. I thought that was like the only time he said it, the last time we looked at that clip. But there's like an entire library of time. I think this guy might be anti-Semitic, guys. I just don't know. And always gotta resort to the most like petty insults ever. Never gonna fight on any arguments or anything like that. I'll just call them inbred. Just call them some name to discredit them. PDF files, school shooter, mom murdering cockroach, rapist, something like that. Just discredit anything they say, right? Just completely brand them as something that's so disgusting that you don't want to listen to anything they say. Moving on to Hassan versus Tectone. Hassan, once again, is there with Noah Samson, and he keeps bringing up the SA accusations against him, admits that he has no idea what the situation even is, but he just goes with it because that's the Hassan strategy. If I don't like you, I automatically believe all accusations against you, and if I do like you, it never happened, obviously.
Even though they don't accept us, and this new era is just a bunch of fucking pussy limp dicks.
No, he has sexual assault allegations against him from, I think, his, like, I don't know the fucking full details, but he's just like a weird, creepy guy, right? You guys are...
Tectone is the very definition of the cousin, uncle, or aunt that you have on the other side of the family who has no filter. They have no filter. They say what they want, when they want, and they don't care how you feel about it. However, they're not going to threaten to kill you or end your life or call you or be anti-Semitic and other things like that. They're just going to state something as they see it with no filter. My Aunt Bonnie was just like Tectone. No filter. None. She spoke her mind and would smoke a pack of cigarettes a day.
Witnessing history. You see it with like the Ethan shit. Like there is a decent amount of people in Ethan Klein's community that unironically think like I am.
And just to be clear, we loved my Aunt Bonnie. No one, some people might disliked her, but no, I loved her. My cousins loved her, and her kids loved her. She was great to have at parties because the no filter on her was hilarious.
I am responsible for Kamala Harris losing the election.
Right.
Like, what do you say to a person like that?
Yeah, guys, I have no idea what the...
Camilla Harris lost in large favor because of first the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, and then to make things even funnier is the popular vote. Trump demolished her in the popular vote. Like, it wasn't even a fair competition.
accusations are, who even made them, but you know, I feel like it, so he's probably a creep, and all the accusations are probably true, you know? Hassan Research 101, that's just a classic. But anyways, Tectone responded, and Asmongold responded.
Here we go. Buddy, even though they don't accept.
It's reacting to the reacting to the reacting to the reacting. That's what reacting YouTube is. I react to you, you react to you, you react to you. Eventually, we'll have a whole screen of just everyone reacting, and then me at the end, just reacting.
Us in this new era. Oh man, same. Oh man, same thing, huh, son? Oh, it's a good one. Oh Jesus.
Those yawns are contagious, dude. I just had it.
Really good one. You got me. Anyways, we gonna fight or what? What's going on, man? What are we doing? Listen, man, you gotta either fight me or Sam Hyde or talk to Destiny on call, man. Choose one, right? We don't get to be a pussy our entire life. We're gonna be a big boy, okay? We'll settle this one-on-one, okay? We'll have your terrorist father versus my father. All right, there's no way that you're gonna run from me and Sam Hyde and Destiny, right? Like, you're gonna have to do one. There's no way we've all butt you this hard mentally. There's no way. You can't just keep running around. Eventually, your community's going to ask you, why does this big guy run away from every single person who tries to resolve their issues? They call you BNF. Or sorry, BFN, Hassan. BFN. That means big for nothing. Come on, big guy. Let's be an adult. We can do this.
Too much abbreviation.
I genuinely believe this is the most unlikable human being on Earth. Like, I hate this man with my whole soul.
He really does. Tectone is probably the biggest vocal hater of Hassan out of everyone. And he's a zero filter type of a person, just like my Aunt Bonnie.
This guy is a genuinely evil person. No, I mean this from my whole soul. I genuinely believe that God put Hassan on this earth to be a vile piece of shit, to tempt the morals of a normal human being to see if they agree with this person. Like, I mean, this guy is a fucking demon with human skin peeled over him.
His, like, I don't know the fucking full details, but he's just like a weird, creepy guy, right?
Sure, yeah, he has allegations against him. That's true. I have not seen any proof that even slightly suggests that Tectone was sexually assaulting anybody. Nothing to substantiate. Yeah, there's no witnesses of this. In fact, all of the other people that were around him said this didn't happen.
Dude, I pointed this out before, but Hassan really just goes, he wakes up and goes, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, you know, who do I slander today? And this guy had the audacity to talk about how he has such a wonderful case against Ethan. He could totally sue him. And Ethan was trying to bait him into suing for defamation, which is the most ridiculous theory ever. I don't know. I feel like by doing this, you just sort of hurt your own credibility, even the little bit you actually have left between your audience, right? And I guarantee you, if Tectone was this extreme far lefty terrorist supporter, Hassan would be glazing him, right? Hassan would be like, well, I need forensic evidence, you know, I need to analysis, I need to see it happen in front of me, obviously, which is what he did with the October 7 Hamas thing, right?
Forensic evidence.
That's why I said Pixar
Circumstantial
didn't
evidence
happen,
is
bro.
not
You
enough
need
to
kids.
prosecute.
Hassan needs
Credible
kids.
circumstantial evidence is not enough.
Pixar didn't happen, right?
Prosecute.
Also, keep in mind, Hassan has literally said in the past that he has no problem with SA or date rape happening as long as the victim is a rich college girl or something, or you know, a victim of Hamas. It seems like then he's all peachy with it, right? And I feel like he has no problem ruining people's lives that he disagrees with, which is just not a principled way to live here. Thanks for watching, guys. Love you guys. I don't say that a lot, so I should probably say. So yeah, thank you for watching, and thank you for all the support. This whole series has been amazing. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
That was more Pegasus with his SlapTuber account that I like to watch. And he has, well, his content it's hilarious because Froken! The flash bomb. Oh man, some of the stuff that been going on lately with the internet has been weird, but I mean, it's been weird the whole time. Ever since the internet became a thing, everyone and everything has come out from underneath the bushes to post the what do we call them? Cockroaches. Yeah, cockroaches. Pretty much. All right, guys, that'll be it for today's live stream. I'll let you go, and I will see you guys next time.